command and control messages, and that can create typically risk for critical infrastructure. The idea, so with these new technologies, what we see often is that there is a fear that these technologies are not ready yet, and so doing demos with organizations such as the Abu Dhabi port is important to first show to them that we are talking about something that is high technology readiness level, and it's ready to deploy. These kind of solutions have been deployed for more than 10 years now, but still in the general IT scene, it's still seen as very new technology. So it's important to show that it works, to convince step by step that these are reliable and can be counted on. And the second thing also is, as we heard, Abu Dhabi Port wants to be the leader in the deployment of quantum solutions. So to show to a field in general which are the use cases for these technologies. I can mention also that in Europe, the Port of Rotterdam has been doing some tests with quantum communications, securing links within their ports and using QKD for that applications. So we see that it's an effort that's happening in multiple places in the world, but definitely a strong leadership stance in Abu Dhabi.
Exactly, leading by example. This is what the UAE is about. So what you just said leads to the next, actually, a challenge to be emphasized upon. When we are talking about adoption, we are talking about the processes and the challenges of the implementation. And here my question for Dr. Mikhailov. What do you think that would be the biggest bottleneck of the adoption of the quantum safe solutions in the maritime sector?
Well, maritime sector is very harsh with adoption of anything, not only quantum. It's just because we are limited by class societies that are basically driving regulations in the area. And it's not only about quantum, it's about everything. Even AI, you want to install a sensor on a vessel, you have to go for the certification. It's not that harsh as it is in aviation, but it's still harsh. And why we are doing this, for example, experiment with AD.TIC, because the next step, we are planning to involve different class societies, DNV, TSNIF, all of them to show how it works, because we need regulations. And with all my respect to them, they're doing the right thing. They cannot impose regulations until they see that these regulations can be met. To meet these regulations, we have to demonstrate that it's accessible technology, it's available on the market, this is how it's implemented. There are experts who can implement it, and it's a cybersecurity. So one of the part of Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy, we are training future captains and training future maritime experts, because all regulators will ask you, show us how it works, show us who can do that, show us who can support it in the country, show that you are independent in supporting this technology in the country. And this is the way we are going through. We are going through together as partners in this case. After we break the ice with regulators, local and international, and we definitely plan to invite multiple regulators, global regulators, to Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy to showcase how Abu Dhabi did it. Then I think it's opened the way to AD.TIC and to other companies to implement such technologies, and we want to be the leaders to show that we can unlock new opportunities, and we are ready to invest. We're already investing in this, as it was rightfully mentioned, partially because we understand how good quantum computers can be soon and how dangerous they can be as well.
So this,
if I may, you mentioned that the maritime sector is a highly regulated field and it is slow to move. And one of the challenges is that there is urgency. We have essentially more or less a 5-year window to upgrade our security infrastructure, and that's a short time in many sectors, and even more so in the maritime sector. And I think that doing demos like what we do, and hopefully proof of concept later, is a good way to show the regulators also that there are solutions, to make them aware of the challenge that they're going to face, and that is something that needs to be done today with new regulations and fostering implementation.
Thank you, Dr. Ribordi. Actually, my question was before you commented. It's related to the timeline, and we needed to start yesterday. And this is the problem that we are facing with the timeline of the transition and the implementation. And when we are talking about other sectors, can you give us some examples of implementation that happened that we could take as example to convince the policymakers, regulators, that the time is now and not tomorrow?
So indeed, it's very important to understand that with this timeline, it's not that when Q-Day arrives, you're a bit less secure. You're not secure at all anymore. There's no security at all. So once Q-Day arrives, it's too late. And in certain industries, there's a challenge with confidentiality of information, because information could be intercepted today and then stored in an encrypted format and then decrypted later. It's probably not a big issue for the maritime sector, more so for finance, government. This attack known as harvest now, decrypt later. So these sectors are starting to move, with regulators, typically in the financial sector, starting to come out with requirements on being quantum safe, deploying quantum safe solutions. Same thing in the telecom sector. To give you an example, we deployed some quantum safe solutions in Korea in the backbone of a company called SK Telecom, which is the leading telecom provider. Their 5G backbone uses quantum key distribution to secure communications, and they wanted to do that because of the enhanced security requirements that you have with 5G. 5G is not only used for data, but also there are lots of other applications of 5G in smart industries, connected cars, and things like this. And so breach is highly critical in such a context. So that's an example of applications. Briefly, another example that I can mention is that central banks in some countries are starting to deploy these kind of solutions in their backbone, again, to be ready against the quantum threat.
You mentioned Q-Day. Probably some of the audience never heard about this word. Can you highlight what is it about?
Q-Day is the day, and is it going to be a day, a week, a month? But it's the time when there will be a quantum computer that is sufficiently powerful to break the current encryption, RSA, elliptic curve, this kind of encryption. And that requires a certain number of quantum bits, qubits. And if you look at the roadmap of the most advanced players now, as I was mentioning earlier, 2030, there is a big risk that this happens. If you look a few years ago, the US government came with a recommendation for quantum safe upgrade, and the first timeline they gave was 2035, so 10 years. And recently they've updated this recommendation to 2030, and so there is a convergence of opinion by experts to say that the end of the decade requires this upgrade. And maybe what we don't realize is that it's going to be difficult. It's not a simple patch overnight. It will require first to know where there is a risk, where do we use cryptography, and then devise a strategy to upgrade and implement this strategy.
Thank you. Now, turning back to you, Dr. Mikhailov. My question is, what do you think that it needed to be done in order to make or place Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy as the center of quantum technology dedicated to the maritime sector with the implementation and adoption? And do you think, of course, partnership is very, very important, but do you think that a consortium of its kind within this industry would push forward to achieve what we need to achieve within the timeline to get the stakeholders involved?
Well, we all are profit driven, and of course we are ready to invest only if we understand the profits. We started with artificial intelligence. It's going very successful. We invest now a lot in infrastructure, in GPUs, in our clouds, and we adopt the technologies. And then why we are called Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy as a subsidiary of Abu Dhabi Ports is because we also have very good training programs. So we have local employees, for example, who understand artificial intelligence, who know how to work with this. We are, I would not say independent, but we know what we are doing. We are controlling this. We are doing the same with quantum. We started earlier, we want to be the leaders, and we build a lot of partnerships. We learn a lot. We create the capacity, in-country capacity, to support the tech. And there is less fear, because a lot of fears when regulators don't understand who's going to support it, when our management doesn't understand where they will take talents to support it as well. We close these gaps. As these gaps are closed, we show that quantum computers can be good for having additional revenue by optimization. We have 300 vessels. There is a lot of optimizing. We also can see that we can close the gaps and help the country to reach its goals in cybersecurity resilience. That's what drives us, and of course we're ready to invest in protection with quantum because we are getting revenues due to quantum computers, and we have the whole capacity. So leadership in this area doesn't mean that we will take and spend millions of dollars on buying quantum computers and implementing quantum computers. It means we'll build local capacity for using quantum tech, and we can provide this capacity to other players in UAE and globally as well.
And if I may add, one of the challenges that we see in addressing the opportunities of quantum computing, but also the challenges, is the workforce. Current engineers mostly have not been trained with about quantum technologies, and having the opportunity to see real use cases, to participate, to projects is very important in developing the leadership of a nation in the field of quantum technology. So I think that's also a bold move, but also something that is probably going to bring a lot of profit benefits.
Absolutely.
That's great to hear the will of collaboration, and of course to understand the strategy of AD Ports Group. So it's driven, of course, by profit, but at the end of the day, they are also the management is keen to integrate the disruptive technology or emerging technology into the operations. And I would also add that Verma Group and Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy launched a challenge, which is industry challenge, and we called different industry leaders. It was open call for everyone in order to provide solution for specific industry problems that could not be solved using conventional computer. And the challenge is ongoing, and it will take more months. And the first impression of AD Ports Group when they saw the shortlisted was amazing. So we have the leaders talking about INQ and other companies who were in the challenge, and they are continuing. So the outcome will be great, and we will see more and more paths and different ways of adoption of quantum technologies in the maritime sector. And this is one of the pledge of Verma Group since 2020 was the pledge to push forward quantum technology since that time in order to be not I wouldn't say mainstream, but more likely envisioned as the technology of the future, hand in hand with AI, to move forward and create a solution to problems that are hard to solve today. Thank you so much for being with us, and I would like to thank Dr. Mikhailov for making it from Abu Dhabi, and Dr. Ibordi for making it all the way from Switzerland. Thank you, and thank you too for being here.
And thank you very much for hosting this conversation for us as well, and for being here. Despite everything, you're still here having a great conversation. All right, we heard about some of the risks there that are possible, of course, in the maritime industry, but also alluding to the broader set of risks that we might face. In this next conversation, we're going to be talking about maybe a little more the opportunities, the solutions, the practical applications for quantum in today's economy. And I'm very excited to bring just the right person to have this conversation with us, Damir Baghdad. He is the founder at Quantum Basel in Switzerland. They are leading Europe's first dedicated quantum and AI innovation campus with over 500 million Swiss francs in private investment, and certainly the right person to share with us some of these opportunities. Please welcome to the stage Damir Baghdad.
Thank you for having me. So talking about opportunity.